It's coming up on 8 years since NVIDIA released their first ray tracing capable card. And, when the 2080 Ti first came out, the general opinion of, ray tracing in general was it was a gimmick, not worth the money, wasn't worth the FPS drops, which, was definitely true back then. Not as much today, but definitely still. Truly the biggest offender of the 20 series, in my opinion, was the fact that the 2080 Ti released for $1,000 MSRP when the previous flagship before that, the 1080 Ti, released for $700 MSRP. So a $300 jump in one generation, people were not happy. But their justification for this price hike is that it was new technology, it was ray tracing. The graphic fidelity on a whole nother level, even though at the time you couldn't really tell the difference between RTX on and RTX off. You really could not tell. Now, I think the only good thing to ever really come out of ray tracing was those stupid RTX on versus RTX off memes. Even with all those negative things said about the 2080 Ti, it was still a monster of a card. It was the top end card for that generation. But how does it perform today is what you're probably wondering. And now I'm going to show you. First game we have here is Rainbow Six Siege X. This game ran pretty good, around 160 to 200 FPS on medium preset with DLSS on quality. And it runs good, but not as good as this card used to be able to run this game. And then, Rainbow Six Siege X came out, and optimization went out the window. But still playable, I was still able to frag out, get a lot of kills. Fortnite, on the other hand, though, still runs great on this graphics card, sitting around 250 to 300 FPS on 1080p competitive, because, the people at Epic Games actually know how to optimize their game, unlike Ubisoft. But even 8 years later, and many updates later, this card can still play Fortnite very well. It even plays so well that I managed to shoot a guy through his builds. Classic Fortnite. Next up is GTA 5 Enhanced Edition. This is the new version of the game with all the ray tracing features and all that. This played pretty well at around 90 to 100 FPS. I had a lot of fun, doing the usual stuff you do in GTA. Like going into the subway station and just shooting anyone who comes down. Very fun. Definitely playable on this card. Great experience. Would recommend. Next up is Arc Raiders. I played this game on the high preset 1080p with DLSS on quality and ray tracing off, because ray tracing on this game isn't really worth turning on. And it ran pretty well at around 80 to 90 FPS. I just kind of walked around, shot at robots. I don't know. I don't really like this game. It's pretty overrated in my opinion. But definitely very playable for an 8-year-old graphics card. Would recommend. Now here's the game you probably would have been playing around the release of this graphics card. Battlefield 1. Played at the highest possible settings, 1080p, no upscalers of course. And it ran very well, consistently at above 140, 150 FPS. Very fun game. Still the best Battlefield in my opinion. I think Battlefield 6 is pretty shitty. But yeah, very good. Now we have Counter-Strike 2 on the highest possible settings, 1080p. Runs pretty good around 150, 200 FPS most of the time. Very playable. I, however, still suck at this game, so. On lower settings, however, you probably would get quite a lot more FPS, but I'm on the max here, so on the lowest, you'd probably get around like 300 or so. So yeah, keep that in mind. Now we have Battlefield 6. I was playing on high 1080p with DLSS on quality, and it was around 85 to 100 FPS most of the time. This game's pretty unoptimized due to the fact it's so CPU intensive. So your CPU in this game matters a decent bit more than your GPU does, and I was playing with a 5800X here. So maybe if you had like an AM5 CPU, you'd get a lot more FPS. It's weird they decided to make a game so CPU bound during a time when no one can afford the new CPUs due to the whole RAM thing. So yeah, pretty shitty optimization. Next up you're seeing is ready or not on high settings. The reason I play on high instead of ultra is because on this game, ultra settings, you get like half the FPS you do on high, and there's no difference in visuals, at least that I can notice. It ran pretty well. Right now, it's only at about 80 FPS, but that's because I have the teammate camera on. When you have the teammate camera on this game, it kills your FPS pretty bad, but when it's off, it's typically at around 120, which you'll see. Definitely very playable. Pretty good on this graphics card. It's an indie game, so it's pretty surprisingly optimized for an indie game. Now, overall, you can see the 2080 Ti is still a very decent card, even 8 years later. It's about on par with something like an RTX 5060, a little bit better, although it does have more VRAM. But I wouldn't recommend it over a 5060 due to the fact that the 20 series is next up on the chopping block when it comes to losing driver support. So if I had to choose between a 5060 and a 2080 Ti, I'd probably go with the 5060 just because you can get more long-term use out of that. They perform basically the same, so you are missing out on VRAM. But I still do think the 5060 is the better option. With that said, though, I still love the 2080 Ti. It's definitely going to go down as my personal favorite graphics card of all time. It was the first high-end graphics card I ever owned. I used it for a few years. The particular model I have here is the 2080 Ti For the Win 3 edition from EVGA. Looks pretty darn good. Definitely one of my favorites. I also want to thank everyone for watching. If you made it to this point, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to start making more tech-based videos. The last one I made did pretty good for my channel. I really enjoy making these, and hopefully this is something I can just start doing and making money from it. Thank everyone for watching. More to come soon. Big ups to all you pimps.